Today is the 29th of June. It's about 8:40 in the morning and 75 degrees. We had a lot of wind this weekend. I mean, ferocious winds. And yesterday was a calmer day. And during that calm day, we went around to look at thinking that we were going to have a lot of damage to the garden, and we didn't. I wanted to show this crepe myrtle and how it's bouncing back to life. That makes me so happy. This little artemisia in there is doing pretty good. Last week I basically trimmed up a bunch of stuff out in the front yard and a little bit in the side yard. In fact, I think, I trimmed up these plants, a bunch out front, the elephant ears, they're looking raggedy, but it's been because of the wind. Can't believe that came on. And we also took the palm fronds that were dead off of the Mediterranean palm there. So we got that. We did a few things while it was windy, but it was difficult. It really was. So we also have our waterfall we brought down from the top of the yard, and we found lots of what we think might just be vulnerable spots where it could be leaking. We don't know. We bought some stuff to maybe fix some of the areas that we think it might be leaking from, and then we're going to fill it with water down here and see if it holds. So that's our plan for this week, is to work on that. This little bottle brush is doing good. I had some zinnias pop up that I wasn't anticipating, so that's kind of cool. And then I did kind of go around the yard and even clean up some of the things that had dying stuff in it. Not everywhere. This still needs some help, but I did trim up some petunias and things like that. Go over here. This little guy, a firecracker plant, had a bunch of little buds on it. It still does. And I will say that we may not get the color we're anticipating over here, because right now this doesn't get the amount of sun that we've been kind of monitoring what kind of sun it gets, and it's not getting the all-day sun like it should. So we may have to move this at some point. We fertilized again this past week, so we've done some things to the yard that aren't necessarily obvious, but make a big difference. So these are some of the cuttings that I got off of my geranium that I planted back here. I cleaned up this little bridge pot. I weeded in this Vego bed, and I trimmed back some of the salvia in here, and then this is getting big, and this is Gomphrenia that's the purple, and it almost has like little jewels in it. It's pretty cool. So I think that the petunia was totally voluntary, but everything else I planted in here, and I wasn't quite sure how to cut back the salvia, but then I read about it online, and what a lot of people do is cut back half and then cut back the other half. So that's kind of what I did here. So probably this week I'll be cutting it back a little bit further, because you can see it's kind of spent even here, and then it should keep flushing out with more color. The Cape honeysuckle look pretty full and green. They don't start blooming until the fall, although they'll set some blooms sporadically throughout the summer too, but they really take off in August or so, September. And I do want to move these because I think they would do better at the top of the yard, but I don't know what I want to put in here yet. I'm thinking the smoke trees, but we shall see. It's going to be a big job to move the big plants. This is still looking pretty. There's a bunch of blooms off of the lentenas here. My jasmine is starting to put on even more new growth, so I'm liking that. And it was looking a little iron deficient, or what do they call that? Chlorosis. So my husband gave them some special treatments, and it looks like it's helped them tremendously. The leaves look so much better. They were not doing real well. They were more like, not this bad, but they were pretty bad. And let's see if I can find some of those, like here. Those leaves right here. And those are old and dying off, and all the new growth is looking really healthy. So I'm pleased with that. We've uncovered this for a little while. The outlook this week is that we're supposed to get up into the 90s. So we kind of have the top covered and the back, because that gets the afternoon sun, but we're letting them have the morning sun, because we're also looking for hornworms, and we're monitoring the water situation. And I've pulled quite a few tomatoes off of here already. I always put my harvesting at the end. Here's some of the blooms, but like I say, these don't really start blooming like crazy until later in the summer. So anyway, we've had a ton of hornworms. I mean a ton. And my husband has been the hornworm hunter, and he's gotten quite a few. And then yesterday we worked to try to take off any of the damaged, so that we could kind of monitor if we still have problems, because the way we're finding them is through the damage to the leaves, and then also the poop. So we've tried to clean up everything so that we could still see if we had some. And then my husband goes out with a flashlight at night with the whatever that purple light is and looks for the hornworms that way. My okra up there are looking pretty good. And then this little palm tree's seeming to settle in pretty nicely. I have planted a bunch of flower seeds in here and nothing's coming up but purslane right now because I'm kind of letting the water hit this tree well. But I pulled out a bunch of purslane yesterday, so when you see this, this ain't even half of it. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting, as I have purslane everywhere right now. And then I thought this was interesting. My Hesperalo, which I never even thought I'd have one of these, but they had some out of the garden compound, and I decided that I was going to put some desert plants in my yard, so here they are. And this Hesperalo bloomed. It doesn't even look real. That little red. So maybe I'll like these. I don't know. They look kind of interesting in a yard where there's other interests. I don't like just desert plants everywhere. I realize that should be maybe what I should focus on, because I live in the desert, but I can't do it. Just can't do it. So I've got lots of little eggplants going. And then we strung up some lines so that we could let the Kakuza squash move out from its home over there. And I didn't want it to go the northern direction, so I've got it come in this direction. And we'll probably put out some more like that. We did that late last week, and it's already taken off. And then you can see its growth is monstrous, so I've got to start giving it more places to go. This is a really big, and it needs to go up and over. So we're training it slowly but surely. Like, look, it's come over here, and there's a bunch of what I'll probably do is run this one down and over this direction. Even though I don't want to do that, I kind of have to, because I want to leave this open for the melons. So there's a method to my vertical gardening, even though it doesn't look like it. I do have some ideas of how to train stuff. We had quite a few hornworms in here. I mean, we had evidence of them on this block wall. It looks pretty good right now. And then I had a bunch of damage over here that I had to take off. So we're trying to maintain this as well as we can. In fact, I see there's a hornworm. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. It's in the center. I gotta go get a glove, take it off. So anyway, we're still battling them, but I feel like we're winning the battle a little bit, because I'm able to harvest and my plants aren't sticks yet. So, but it's an upward battle, that's for sure. Got a lot off of the ones back in this Vego bed too. And then this guy has just gone crazy. So show my mallow. I think that's what this is. I need to start cutting this back too. In fact, it looks like either I'm supposed to be, the blooms came off of here or something's eating on it. I don't know which. I'll cut these back today and see if that makes a difference. I don't know how to maintain them yet. I'm still figuring that out. Anyway, I'm really pleased with, I'll start back here and go this direction. This little guy, the Kajari melon's starting to do better. So something's eating the plum tomato there pretty bad. And then I gotta show I'm really pleased with my garden this year. I think it looks healthy and it's not pest free. The pests are loving it as well, but I'm not gonna let them win. Anyway, that's my goal. We want to put up one more shade cloth, but we haven't been able to do that. It's this one here. And we hope to get that up today because this week is going to be our milder weather. We're going to have like 90-degree temps, not a whole lot of wind, and lows in the upper 60s. So, and we're babying this serrano pepper back here. Don't know how long we're gonna do that. I think that at the end of the season, I'm gonna take all the peppers out of here. I'm not gonna overwinter. We're gonna build up the soil in this bed. So that's my plan. All right, I gotta go get the worm. So I think I'm done talking. That's my garden diary. It's the 21st of June and I wanted a salad for lunch and I wanted some cucumbers, so I went and picked a couple. They're small. They're not very big, but I will take them. Today is the 22nd of June and we fertilized the garden tonight. And so I picked a few tomatoes before we fertilized, and there was one that I missed, so I'll get it tomorrow. It's also a 4th of July tomato, which I think all of these are. So the tomatoes are starting to roll in. Yay! Today is the 23rd of June and it's almost 12:45 and it's 96 degrees, and we went out to, we had fertilized last night and wanted to put the shade cloth back up on the tomatoes, and then I decided to harvest a bunch of peppers, and we're probably going to hit the peppers with iron fortification or whatever it is tonight. But I got a few more tomatoes. I got 2 cucumbers and 2 bell peppers, and then just a whole mess of hot peppers, spicy peppers, mostly serrano and jalapeno. Today is the 24th of June and I got my first okra, and I know they're not very big, but they grow so darn fast that I thought I'd pick them anyway. And then I got one more cucumber, which is, these are about the size I like, maybe a little bit bigger I could let it get, but right now, every time I see one, I want to eat it. Today is the 26th of June, and this is what we got out of the garden. I got some yellow plum tomatoes. Those are my first. These I think are all the rest of these I think are 4th of July, which would be fitting because it's getting close to the 4th of July. Then I got all of these jalapenos, 2 cucumbers, a Charleston bell, and this is a good size Kajari melon. So now we can have melons and cucumbers. Yay! Today is the 28th of June, and we've had probably 3 days of where we actually got wind advisory for our winds. They were whipping winds. I mean, they went in every kind of direction, and I thought we would see a lot of damage in the garden. I'm gonna probably do a video tomorrow, but we didn't have a whole lot, so I was surprised. We were out there just trying to see what needed to be tied up or cut off or whatever. And this is part of our harvest from that. We got probably an okra that's past its prime, but a couple that aren't. And then some, these are probably 4th of July tomatoes. I got some little yellow plum tomatoes, some jalapenos, and some serranos. And then there's some really cute little, I just brought these in, not that I normally keep these, but I thought that these little tiny peppers were so cute, and they were bright red, so I went ahead and picked them, even though, I mean, I would have picked them and probably thrown them away, but I thought, well, I like miniature.